Acharya-ji, in a video I heard you say that whatever has been implanted in our mind through conditioning, be it parental, societal or biological, it can never be our nature. So suppose we get to the point of recognition that yes, this is like it is, and I'm recognizing some of these conditionings. What then? What's the next step?
There is no particular step to take then. Then one is just free. Freedom is stepless. However, before you talk of freedom absolute, it is important to see that the process of conditioning didn't take place in the past or in a particular time span. It is always happening. The very tendency to get conditioned is present in the body itself. The body is impressionable and therefore it gathers impressions. And if the body is impressionable, then impressions will keep coming to it as long as the body itself is there. When I say body, I mean to include the brain as well. Therefore, the process of freedom from conditioning is never quite fully complete. If it is never quite fully complete, you can never really ask, I am now fully free, what is the next step now? If you are free, then the next step is to remain free. It is not given to a human being to claim to have anything absolute. We are little beings living in a relative world, and that must be humbly acknowledged. Yes, all spirituality does talk of and target at the absolute. But one must not forget the factual reality of humankind. The very fact that we target the absolute means that we are limited and small. Freedom, therefore, even if attained in ample and fulfilling measure, can never be irreversible. Constant vigilance would always be needed, which means that spiritual practice has to be a way of life rather than an occasional treatment. You cannot turn to inner discipline only when you start feeling the heat of life. There is great fun in targeting the absolute, and there is an equal fun in the process, the relative process of movement towards the absolute. The journey is as beautiful as the destination, and given who we are and how we are, all that we will ever know is only the journey. And what is the next step in the journey? Keep journeying. Keep journeying. Is a spiritual practice so very boring or taxing that you want to come to the end of it? Why do you ask me what after the process of liberation is complete? Why don't you love the process itself? Several of you might have heard of Kabir Sahib, the great mystic, saint. He said, Ram bulawa bhejiya, diya kabira roe. Jo sukh sadhu sang mein, so baikunt na hoe. God called Kabir, so says Kabir, God called Kabir, and Kabir wept at the invitation. Because Kabir finds the company of the monks and the sadhus and the saints far more joyful than the prospect of heaven itself. Who wants the destination? Who wants an end? The process itself is so lovely. Similarly, there are other very fine and pretty tales. So there were these fakirs, and they were indulging in all kinds of spiritual practices, and they would be reading the scriptures. So one day the angels came down to the three of them. And offered heaven to all three. Heaven was offered to them because they had been avid and disciplined readers of the holy books. Two of them gladly accepted the offer. The third one said, "What heaven? I am already in heaven. The company of the book is heaven." That's the mark of the true seeker. He does not want the journey to complete, and that might appear paradoxical. The one who has not attained wants to attain and therefore wants the journey to end. The one who has attained now continues the journey in his attainment. Having attained, he gladly continues the journey. What for? For nothing. For the sake of journeying. If one can journey while unfulfilled, why can't one journey in fulfillment? So one continues journeying, and there is no talk of an end. We said that day, the Zen thing. When you reach the mountain top, keep climbing. And then begins the fun. So now Anna, tell me, having reached the mountain top, what's the next step? To climb upwards in the open sky, with nothing to climb for, with nothing to climb against. One just keeps climbing. The question is that I have often said that what we usually call as love is merely physical and hormonal attraction. The questioner is saying he is attracted towards a woman, and though it might be true that the attraction is mostly physical, but he still finds the relationship comfortable. So, it won't quite directly harm you. Please appreciate. If one is born in bondage, then every opportunity, every resource, every moment in time, every relationship has to be used in the direction of liberation. That is, if the desire to be liberated is strong enough. If my desire towards liberation is strong enough, then I would use every bit of my energy, intellect, my being, my time, my money, my resources, my experience, my memories, everything that I have any control over, for the sole purpose of liberation. Right? It's like a person drowning. If you are drowning, then all your system, your entire energy gets channelized and focused only in one direction. You just want to save yourself. A relationship is an opportunity. You could make the best use of it, or you could squander it. Remember that relationships are time consuming, energy consuming, attention consuming. Every relationship in that sense takes away a chunk of your life, sometimes a very substantial chunk. Every relationship is taking away a part of the opportunity available to you called life. Now it totally depends on your desire to be liberated, whether you want to just lose that chunk, or whether you want to extract the maximum value for that chunk. You could say, I spent 5 years with a woman, and those 5 years were nice, I was comfortable with her. And those 5 years, mind you, are not going to return. Those 5 years are gone. Or you could say that I spent 5 years with a woman who really showed the mirror to me. Being able, elevated, and poised herself, she challenged and helped me in the process of my own liberation. Both the relationships are possible. It's just that if you meet a woman who is a lover of freedom, then she might not appear comfortable to you, because she would be very, very challenging. You would say, oh, what a difficult woman. But if you come across a woman who belongs to your own dimension, both of you love more or less the same food, both of you more or less talk of the same things, both of you are more or less equally ignorant, then both of you are quite nicely comfortable with each other. You don't find any difficulty in the relationship. And then you say, it's all quite cozy, we are made for each other. It's like a very fat man finding a 46-inch pant for himself. Obviously, these two are made for each other. But is the 46-inch thing going to help this man reduce? The two of them will remain comfortable with each other, and that's all. Time would be wasted comfortably. Are you getting it? Rather find somebody who is difficult and challenging. The ego finds comfort where it does not have to change. It is such a paradox, you see. The ego is always clamoring for change, but within it is so scared that it does not really want to change. So what is comfort for us? Acting as if we are lovers of change, but really, deeply, actually avoiding all change. That's what pleases the ego the most, to have the best of both worlds, to pretend as if it is welcoming change, but actually remain resistant to change. Comfort is when you just keep living by your old habits, your old ways. You keep giving more value to security than to your love for freedom. Freedom is never comfortable. The old habits and old patterns, they offer a lot of security, and there is therefore a lot of comfort there. Comfort does not actively harm you, and that's why it is all the more harmful. Comfort just passively steals away your time and opportunity. If something harms you actively, then you at least get alerted. Then you at least get cautioned that you are being besieged and defeated. But in comfort, life just silently slips away. You just passively keep losing time. Comfort is like a chronic and terminal disease. It does not immediately slaughter you, but it keeps strengthening its grip over you with the passage of time. And the end result is inevitable. Figure out.
So now you've been talking about getting out of the comfort zone. I was wondering if you can tell us something about the importance of acceptance and patience according to our own process and also the process of others.
Acceptance is honesty. In spiritual terms, To accept is to acknowledge. It must be clear that acceptance is not validation. When the teachers say that you must have acceptance, they do not mean that you must support. They merely mean that you must acknowledge. Yes, one is frustrated, one is angry, one feels lonely and bored. One has to accept these things. Acceptance does not mean that one lets the status quo remain. Acceptance means one says, yes, I am bored. Acceptance does not mean it is all right to remain bored. You get the difference between these two? Acceptance means, yes, I am bored. Acceptance does not mean it is all right to remain bored. Acceptance is acknowledgement. With acceptance begins change. Because once you have acknowledged that you are bored and lonely, then your inner honesty will compel you to do something about your condition. If you are bored, obviously you just cannot live with things as they are. Something has to change. But given that our tendencies run deep, they are actually primordial. So change in tangible terms won't come instantaneously. Change will take time. Maintaining faith through that time is called patience. So after acceptance, what you need is patience. That's these two.